Hey, have you ever been in a band situation that feels more like a soap opera than a jam session? Yeah, I have too. That's why I'm here to talk about the 5 pros and cons of being a solo musician and why I am now team solo. So let's jump right into it. First of all, I've been playing shows for well over 30 years, but I would say the last 20 years I've been averaging over 100 shows per year, most of those with a band, obviously. And now I have been playing solo, so I've been comparing and contrasting in my mind. So let's just jump right into what the pros and cons are. Number one, you have complete creative control, which is great. You can play whatever songs you want, whatever genre. You can mix and match however you want. Part of that creative control extends to being able to wear what you want, being able to say what you want, being able to create the marketing materials that you want. No more being embarrassed about maybe the name of your band or the way it's marketed or the way the leader approaches things. It's a great thing. Number two, obviously, pro of being a solo musician is that you have complete control over your schedule, which I remember being in a band that only allowed the members to take one weekend off per year, and that was the first weekend of January. Yeah, I'm getting depressed just thinking about that. So, yeah, having control over your own schedule, huge pro of being a solo musician. Um, Number three pro of being a solo musician, you have the spotlight all to yourself. You don't have to share the limelight. And yeah, that's great for, if you're kind of an extrovert like I am, but also, um, the success or failure of a night kind of rests on you. The ball is in your hands the whole time. And so that's great. It gives me a good feeling knowing that I have control a little bit more over the outcome. It's resting on my shoulders. Um, Number four pro of being a solo musician, and I'm mentioning this at four. This probably could be number one for a lot of folks. The money. You're obviously making a lot more money, not having to split the check at the end of the night with 2 other people, 5 other people, 7 other musicians, and a road crew that need to get paid. Yeah, so, and also, right, because you don't have to split that money so many ways, it allows you to take other shows that you couldn't take as a band because it just wouldn't make sense financially, but you could take that gig as a solo artist and come home with a pretty penny. And number five benefit of being a solo musician, you get to sidestep a lot of the pettiness and drama that is just baked into a band situation. And yeah, whatever that is for you, I know I've encountered everything from the silent treatment to verbal abuse to actual physical altercations. So if you want to sidestep some of that, being a solo musician is definitely a path that will allow you to do that. So what are the cons to being a solo musician? Well, number one, it's kind of lonely. You don't have the camaraderie of your fellow bandmates there to commiserate with, to hang out with before and after the show, to hang out with during the breaks, to kind of share inside jokes with. So that is a con. Although I would counter that con by saying I've been in band situations that were also extremely lonely if you were on the receiving end of the silent treatment or if you were somehow on the outs with some of the other band members. I would argue that being with band members that you're on the outs with is even more lonely than just being a solo artist. So number two con of being a solo artist is you're everything. you're the a roadie, you're the accountant, you're the booking agent, you're the marketer, you're the gear fixer and provider. Now, again, if you are the leader of a band, then you were already doing all of these things anyway. And so as a band leader, I was already doing all of those things. So it's not really a con or a contrast to my solo career now. Now, I've been a member of a band and where I didn't have to worry about all those things. So that is definitely a con to being a solo artist, especially if you don't feel like assuming the responsibility or you don't have the wherewithal to take all the steps necessary to assume the financial outlay to kind of keep the wheels greased and the thing moving down the track. Number 3 con of being a solo artist, you are on the grind by yourself. So to build up that buzz may be a little harder because when you've got the band, again, you've got potentially multiple members that are bringing their family, their friends, that are cultivating their own fan base. And so you're combining that for a much bigger impact, potentially. Now, every band that I've ever known or even have been in, we've had up nights and down nights. So again, it's not a guarantee that you're going to have a built-in audience, but the potential to have that is there. Am I at number 4? Yeah, I think I'm at number 4. The other, I'll say number 4 con is that, you've got to sing your own harmonies. Singing your own harmonies is awkward. You have to either record them all in the studio and bring them to the show with you, or you just have to use maybe some harmony generating effects pedal, or you don't have any harmonies. But again, this con for me, although it's could be seen as a con by some folks, for me, when I was a band leader, none of my members really sang. So I still had to provide my own harmonies. And then when I was in various bands as just a member, I wouldn't say that the harmonies were super tight and over the top awesome anyway. So we were either going with lesser harmonies or even supplementing those harmonies anyway. So that would be a con to being a solo artist, potentially, is that you have to address not only the harmonies, but every other musical aspect if you are playing along the tracks. Now, I know a lot of solo musicians that use a looper pedal or, again, some kind of harmony generating machine, and they just play with an acoustic, and they don't really have to worry about that as much. And the number 5 con to being a solo musician, again, no shared memories with other band members. So you're going it alone. That being said, again, the way I mitigate this is that I'm still friends with all of my former bandmates, and we talk on the phone. Now, they're still leading the band life and doing their members and other bands. I'm a solo musician, but we could still commiserate, and they still share the band stories with me. So I still get to partake in all the band dramas. But now I do it at a safe distance where I'd rather be. I'm glad when I hear the band dramas that they're in, it's always the same storyline. I'm just glad I'm watching the storyline from the sidelines and not participating in the storyline. Why am I glad that I'm not in a band anymore, aside from these pros that I listed and some of these cons? Well, number 1, I would say I don't have to move at the speed of a band. Learning things, getting things done is just a lot faster. I don't have to run my decisions through a committee. I don't have to have endless debates. If I want to hear a hi-hat part somewhere, I just put the hi-hat in. I don't have to have a 4-hour conversation during band practice about literally 10 seconds worth of music. Number 2 reason I'm really glad to be a solo artist now is that there's this unspoken assumption in bands that it's going to be run democratically and that everybody's going to split every dollar down to the last penny equally. Even though there's someone always doing the majority of the work, everybody else feels entitled to their equal share, exactly equal. You know, whatever the division is, they want it to be exact. And that's unrealistic. I got tired of doing everything for everyone else, not being appreciated for it a lot of times. And then lastly, yeah, and this kind of feeds into the last point. I do not miss the pettiness and the drama of being in a band. If you're doing enough gigs and you're with it, you know, with your bandmates enough, you will get on each other's nerves. And depending on the chemistry there could be some wildly explosive moments, which there was for me. You know, again, it's just par for the course, I guess, but I kind of got tired of it. So the bottom line for me is I am very happy being a solo artist at this point. I've definitely done some one-off shows that I've enjoyed as a lead singer, as a bass player. But again, the enjoyment there is kind of not worth the effort to learn a bunch of songs that you're going to play once or twice. And then again, the compensation at the end of the night really doesn't equal what I would get as a solo musician. So for me, I guess the wrap up is that I love music too much to let politics ruin it. And for that reason, I'm really enjoying this rebirth as a solo artist. I'm having just a ton of fun. And the kind of gigs that are happening now are just as off the hook and just as crazy. The audience gets just as wild as the days when I had a band. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And if you could go that route, I would suggest trying it. There's a lot more effort involved to pull it off, but there's a lot more enjoyment as well. It's higher risk, but also higher reward, as they say. So see what you think. That's it for me. Yeah, 20 years of doing over 100 shows a year. Definitely kind of over the band stuff right now, but let me know what you think. And until I talk to you again, keep it groovy.